I'm going to replay Connor McDavid's entire career starting in NHL 16, and after every single season, I'm going to switch to the next NHL title, bringing along Connor McDavid and all of his stats. And on top of that, we're going to spin a wheel, and he's also going to be changing teams every year. So to start off in NHL 16, Connor McDavid has medium franchise potential at 18 years old, 4.5 stars in puck skills, senses, shooting and skating, 3 in defense, and 3 in physical. This was the very beginning for an incredible career for Connor McDavid, and he's going to be on the first line in between Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle. And looking at the defense, it's a massive throwback. We got Sekera and Justin Schultz on the first line, and in between the pipes, we have NHL legend Ben Scrivens. I think it's safe to say that this team's definitely not going to be making the playoffs. When the season came to an end, the Edmonton Oilers are going to finish 25th in the entire league with a 38, 37, and 7 record. And looking at McDavid's rookie numbers, 73 points consisting of 25 goals and 48 assists, this would be a great season for a rookie, and even a great season for a good player, but not for Connor McDavid standards. And we're also going to take a quick look at the league leaders every year because it's going to be a throwback to some old names. Now Steven Stamkos, he's not the best example for a throwback, he's leading the league with 91 points, but this guy is Henrik Lundqvist. He's going to lead all goaltenders in wins with 41 while posting a 932 save percentage and a 202 goals against. In the postseason, King Henrik's going to have a chance at winning a Stanley Cup, but he's going to fall to the LA Kings in 7 games, while Kopitar's leading the way with 9 goals and 16 assists for 25 points, while Jonathan Quick's holding it down in net, and he's our Stanley Cup winning goaltender. After the offseason, Connor McDavid's jumping up to an 89 overall, so what I'm doing is I'm going to be transferring all of these attributes onto the next Connor McDavid in NHL 17. But first, we got to spin a wheel to find out what team he's going to. With our very first wheel spin, Connor McDavid's going to have a great chance at winning a Stanley Cup as he's going to the Nashville Predators. In NHL 17, Connor McDavid was an absolute beast, being a 92 overall. The only issue is these are the attributes he finished with in the last game. These are the attributes transferring over, so he's actually dropping down to an 89 overall, but I'm not too concerned about this little drop because by the time we get to NHL 23, McDavid's going to have no problem reaching his full potential. Taking a look at this Nashville Predators team, we know what they're capable of as they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final but fell to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Looking at the defense, we have a much younger Roman Josi and a prime PK Subban, and in between the pipes, we got Pekka Rinne, which is definitely an upgrade from Ben Scrivens last season. In year number 2, Connor McDavid's going to be making his first postseason appearance. The Nashville Predators are going to finish 9th in the entire league with a 47, 31, and 4 record. And McDavid, an even worse season from you. What are these numbers? You're a 90 overall and just put up 66 points in 82 games. You're a 90 overall named Connor McDavid. Despicable. Absolutely despicable. Taking a look at the entire league, Alexander Ovechkin's going to be leading the way, tied with Nick Backstrom in points with 100. But Ovi, he's going to be powering 61 goals, while Backstrom, he's picking up 82 assists. And taking a look at goaltenders, Craig Anderson's leading the way. He's picking up 43 wins with a 914 save percentage and 265 goals against. Expectations for this Nashville team are pretty clear: win a Stanley Cup. But we got the St. Louis Blues in the first round, and of course this is going to be a tough matchup as this is one of the best teams in the league. However, before we get into this series, I do want to ask you guys one thing. Can you please subscribe? Not because I'm trying to pass the St. Louis Blues, not because they're the greatest franchise of all time, but NHL 17 hurts for me. You want to know why? Who is the cover athlete for NHL 17? Vladimir Tarasenko. And the other day, it was a rough day for me. I had to watch Vladimir Tarasenko get traded to the New York Rangers. I understand why we had to trade him. He wasn't re-signing, and we got to get some assets for him while we can. But it's tough to see when your favorite players walk away. So the only way I could possibly recover from this is you subscribing. So subscribe, turn notifications on, and help me get through these dark times. Although St. Louis was favored in the series, Nashville's going to be completing the upset, taking them down in 7 games. And who's scoring the OT winner in Game 7? Of course, that's going to be none other than Connor McDavid. Entering the second round, we're going to be taking on the Dallas Stars. And Dallas is actually going to be a very similar story to St. Louis. We're being taken to 7 games, and in Game 7, we're winning another 1-0 game. But I don't care if it's a sweep. I don't care if it's a 7-game series. We're in the conference finals, and now all we got to do is win, and we just got to take down Minnesota. But that's not exactly what's going to happen, and Minnesota's going to handle us in 5 games. But after taking us down 5 games, Minnesota's not going to do anything as they're getting swept by the Florida Panthers. Nashville's going to be led by McDavid in the postseason, who's picking up 4 goals and 10 assists for 14 points. And who's the guy leading Florida to a Stanley Cup? That's going to be UC Jokinen, 8 goals and 13 assists for 21 points. That's a bit of a throwback right there. And Roberto Luongo, he's finally winning a Stanley Cup, posting a 925 save percentage and 241 goals against in the process. With the offseason in the books, Connor McDavid's sitting at 92 overall, and now we got to figure out where he's going. So this next spin's actually working out pretty well for us, as we're going to see a reunion as Connor McDavid's off to the New Jersey Devils. Okay, I can't really explain this because it doesn't make any sense to me, right? So last season, Connor McDavid ended as a 92 overall. In NHL 18, he's a 93 overall, okay? I'm going to paste the stats from last season onto this Connor McDavid, okay? He's somehow dropping 5 overalls. I don't really know how that happened. Like, I posted the 92 overall Connor McDavid stats onto this McDavid, and he dropped from a 93 to an 88. What's going on here? So what type of reunion are we seeing in New Jersey? Well, it's going to be Taylor Hall and Connor McDavid. They're back together on the same team together. Hopefully this time they can see a bit of success together. But I'm not feeling too confident about that. Looking at Jersey's defense, it's not looking great by any means. But we got Corey Schneider in net, so maybe he can hold it down for us. Not only did we just finish first in the entire league, we were the best defensive team. We only allowed 2.15 goals per game. This is a prime example of why I'm not working for an NHL team. I thought the defense on this team was cooked, but apparently it's the best in the entire league. Didn't see that one coming. McDavid, it's going to be a great season for you. You're going to be picking up 82 points in 82 games, your first season averaging a point a game. And on top of that, you're jumping up 3 overalls to a 91. So hopefully next season you can stay above a 90. Looking at the entire league, once again, Alexander Ovechkin's going to be leading the way with 95 points, consisting of 57 goals and 38 assists. While Jake the Snake, he's going to lead all goaltenders and wins with 47 while posting a 926 save percentage. So not only are the New Jersey Devils first in the entire league, we're the best defensive team and we have the best chance at winning a Stanley Cup. So let's go do that. The Islanders are going to put up a slight fight against us, but we're going to take them down in 6 games. But now we have the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second round, and this is going to be a tough matchup, seeing as they're looking to repeat. The matchup against Pittsburgh was a tough one, but we're taking them down in 7 games. But here we are in the conference finals. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning. We already know what the Tampa Bay core is comprised of, so it's going to be another tough matchup for us. It looks like New Jersey's luck is running out as we're falling in a 4-game sweep. In Tampa, they're going to go on to win the Stanley Cup over the LA Kings in 5 games. McDavid, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I'm expecting way more from you at this point. Yeah, you picked up 10 assists for 10 points, but you literally didn't score a goal in 17 games. You win 17 postseason games without scoring 1 goal. This is unacceptable with you being one of the best players in the league. While Anze Kopitar, once again, he's going to be leading all postseason scoring, but it doesn't matter because he's not hoisting a cup. This man is. Andrei Vasilevsky, who's posting a 938 save percentage and 5 shutouts in the postseason. He was kind of locked in. So as long as McDavid doesn't get screwed over with the overall, he's going to be a 93 heading into next season. The next team that's getting Connor McDavid's services, I wish would get in about 2 years. He's heading to the Toronto Maple Leafs. If Toronto could get McDavid a few years from now when all the young players have grown a bit more, this would be an absolutely lethal team. And I've got some great news from McDavid. He's sticking at 93 overall, and the stats, they're looking incredible. 5 stars in puck skills, 5 in senses, 5 in shooting, 5 in defense, 5 in skating, and 4 in physical. So by the end of this video, he might have 5 stars in every single attribute category. Looking at the Maple Leafs team, we already know who's here. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, and McDavid's joined the mix. Looking at the defense, Morgan Riley, Jake Muzzin, and Jake Gardiner, just to name a few. And of course, in net for us, we got Frederik Andersen. Let's just hope this team can get out of the first round. At the end of the season, Toronto's looking absolutely fantastic, finishing with a 50, 27, and 5 record, and we're 3rd in the entire league. But there is one issue with that, and you'll figure that out in a second. McDavid's going to be leading the Toronto Maple Leafs with 35 goals and 50 assists for 85 points, while Alexander Radulov, out of all players, is going to lead the league with 90 points, consisting of 33 goals and 57 assists. That seems like such a random player to lead the league in points. And leading all goaltenders, we're going to have Connor Hellebuyck, who's picking up 44 wins with a 930 save percentage and a 201 goals against. And shout out to Peter Mrazek, who's finishing 3rd in wins. The fall off came quick for this man, you hate to see it. So here's the issue I was talking about earlier. We have the Boston Bruins in the first round. Pack your bags, it's not happening. And in a 6-game series, who would have saw it coming? The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to fall to the Boston Bruins. It doesn't even matter that you added Connor McDavid to your team. You're still going to lose to Boston somehow. When the postseason came to an end, Tampa's going to be winning another Stanley Cup, while Minnesota's losing in the Cup final once again. This team can never seem to close it out. McDavid, you had 2 points in the postseason. 2 points. Yeah, we're just heading right to next season. With all the training McDavid did in the offseason, he's jumping up to a 95 overall. And where's he going to be taking his fantastic talents to? He's off to the Philadelphia Flyers. A 95 overall Connor McDavid's definitely going to help this Flyers team. And taking a look at his attributes, he's only half a star away from having 5 stars in every single attribute category. With McDavid taking over the first line center role, Giroux's going to be dropping down to the second line. Looking at the defense, Gostisbehere and Provorov are going to be leading the way. And in net for us, we're going to have a young Carter Hart who's taking over the reins. Philly's having a pretty solid season with McDavid on the team as they're finishing 9th in the entire league with a 45, 28, and 9 record. While McDavid's leading the team in points, but he's not even a point a game this season. Only 30 goals and 49 assists for 79 points. McDavid, at this point, you got to step up, my guy. You got to be scoring at least 100 points a season. Looking at the entire league, Sid the Kid's going to be leading the way with 115 points, and notice who's in second. Leon Draisaitl is in second with 56 goals and 56 assists for 112 points without Connor McDavid. McDavid, you got to step it up. That's all I have to say. And Braden Holtby, he's leading all goaltenders in wins with 47. In the playoffs, we got a tough matchup on our hands as we got the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round, but the Penguins aren't putting up as big of a fight as I thought they would, and we're taking them down in 6 games. So here we are in the second round, and now we got the Washington Capitals. The Washington Capitals are going to be very similar to the Pittsburgh Penguins as they're putting up a slight fight, but here we are in the conference finals. We got the Boston Bruins, and you already know with the Bruins, they're not going to go down easy. After dropping the first 3 games of the series, Philly's going to fight back a bit, but in the end, we're falling in 6 games. And in the Stanley Cup final, we're going to have the Winnipeg Jets taking down the Boston Bruins in 7 games. McDavid, it was your best postseason yet, 6 goals and 14 assists for 20 points. While leading all scorers, that's going to be Mark Scheifele. He's picking up 28 points, consisting of 14 goals and 14 assists. And of course, that means Connor Hellebuyck, he's going to be our Stanley Cup winning goaltender. After the offseason, McDavid's jumping up to a 96 overall, but it's time for him to switch teams again. And the team he's joining is going to be a very interesting one, as he's going to be joining one of the greatest goal scorers of all time in Alexander Ovechkin in the Washington Capitals. So as I mentioned earlier, McDavid, he's up to a 96 overall, and he's still half a star away from 5 stars in every single attribute category. But I'm not worried about the attributes, I'm worried about his production, because so far, he hasn't really done anything. But now he has Alexander Ovechkin and Nick Backstrom on the first line with him in Washington, so if McDavid scores less than 100 points this season, I'm ending the video right now. The rest of this team I really don't care about. Char's here, we got John Carlson of course, and net we're gonna have Henrik Lundqvist for us, but I don't care about any of this. McDavid, 100 points. That's all I care about. At the end of the year, Washington's finishing 5th in the entire league with a 46, 25, and 11 record. And one thing I do have to mention, Washington was one of the top teams in goal scoring. So McDavid, you better be putting up some good numbers here. And it took long enough, but here we are. Connor McDavid's finally cracking the 100-point mark. He's picking up 48 goals and 62 assists for 110 points this season. And Alexander Ovechkin, he's going to be potting 60 goals this season with McDavid at center. Looking at the entire league, Tyler Seguin's leading the way with 58 goals and 56 assists for 114 points, while Grubauer's leading all goaltenders in wins with 40. So here we are in the playoffs. Washington's matching up against the Philadelphia Flyers. These two teams matched up in NHL 20 and Philly came out on top, so Washington, it's time for you guys to get your revenge. But it doesn't look like that's happening. The Capitals are falling in 6 games. I took Connor McDavid out of Philly and then put him on Washington, and somehow Washington still lost. You guys had one job and you couldn't do it. After Washington was eliminated, Vegas went on to win a Stanley Cup, defeating the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5 games, and McDavid, 6 points in 6 games. I can't express my disappointment in words for you right now. Kucherov is going to be having another great postseason, 11 goals and 16 assists for 27 points. Too bad you're not winning the Stanley Cup, because Vegas is and Rob Leonard, he's going to be leading the way for them. So I'm just simulating through the offseason so we can see what McDavid's stats are looking like. But what is this draft lottery? Number 6 is jumping to 1, 13's jumping to 2, 11's jumping to 3, 1's dropping to 4. The only 2 picks that didn't move was 14 and 15. Every other pick had some type of movement. This would be the wildest draft lottery to witness. At 24 years old, McDavid's up to a 97 overall, but that doesn't matter because this is what matters. 5 stars in every attribute category. He's basically the perfect all-around player, and where's he taking his talents to? And it looks like Connor McDavid's going to be taking his talents to the newest franchise in the NHL, and that's the Seattle Kraken. McDavid, you're up to a 97 overall. The stats are absolutely incredible. Can you turn this team around? That's the real question. On the first line, of course, you got Jane Schwartz, a Blues legend, and then a former teammate of yours in Jordan Eberle. And speaking of former Blues and former teammates, leading the first defensive pairing is going to be Vince Dunn and Adam Larson. And in net for the Kraken, we got Philip Grubauer. He can definitely win us some games, so let's see if McDavid can turn this team around. The addition of McDavid's definitely turning the team around as they're making the playoffs, finishing 16th in the entire league with a 41, 32, and 9 record. And McDavid, it was an okay season for you, 36 goals and 58 assists for 94 points, but given what your standards are, I'm still expecting more. Like look at Brad Marchand for example, 52 goals and 70 assists for 122 points. You let Brad Marchand outscore you. We can't have that happen. And looking at goaltenders, Robin Lehner and Vasilevsky, they're going to be both tied with 41. So let's be completely honest with ourselves. There's no way we're getting on the first round. We're taking on Colorado. Okay, so that happened. We took the Colorado Avalanche down in 7 games. The reigning Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. Well, actually, I shouldn't say reigning because this would actually be their Stanley Cup team. So the Seattle Kraken with Connor McDavid could take down the Colorado Avalanche. Now that we've taken down Colorado, I think we can take down anyone. We got Minnesota next, so this should be light work for us. And we got swept in 4 games. Now see, I was expecting Colorado to do this against us. Okay, I think this is the 3rd Stanley Cup that Minnesota's made it to in this video, and they've lost every single one. The numbers from McDavid in the postseason were just average, with 6 goals and 6 assists for 11 points. While Malkin, what were you on? No, like seriously, what were you on? 45 points in 24 games, 19 goals, 26 assists. You almost averaged 2 points a game while playing 24 games. And not only that, but let's just look at the entire postseason scoring. Crosby, 38 points. Teravainen, 36 points. Getzel, 35 points. Aho, 33 points. Svechnikov, 33 points. There was no goaltending going on whatsoever. And speaking of goaltenders, Tristan Jarry, 16 wins, and I'm amazed your numbers look as good as they do. Because with the amount of goal scoring going on, how did you only have a goals against of 2.71? Heading into the current NHL 23 game, the final team that McDavid's going to be joining is going to be the Detroit Red Wings. And at 98 overall, Connor McDavid, the numbers absolutely fantastic. 5 stars in puck skills, 5 in senses, 5 in shooting, 5 in defense, 5 in skating, 5 in physical, 5 stars across the board. The only difference between this Connor McDavid right here and the current version of Connor McDavid in NHL 23, this one's slightly slower with less poise. That's the only 2 differences. Besides that, this McDavid's basically better in every single category, but for some reason he puts up worse numbers. And with McDavid not picking up a Stanley Cup yet, I'm very concerned because I don't think Detroit's got it. Yeah, we have Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond on the first line with McDavid. Looking at the defense, we got 2 guys that can lead the way, but the second and third pairings got some questions. And Philly Husso, I saw what you did in the postseason last year with St. Louis. You folded. You were fantastic in the regular season for us, don't get me wrong. But when the postseason came around, I don't know what happened. You're kidding me, right? 30th in the entire league with a 34, 40, and 8 record. I gave you guys Connor McDavid and you finished 30th. Edmonton finished ahead of you without McDavid. Nah, this is a poverty franchise. McDavid, 88 points. Despicable. You know what? We're just moving on. Nathan McKinnon, you're going to lead all scorers with 124 points, and you also picked up 69 goals in the process because why not? And Frederick Anderson, 45 wins, a 912 save percentage, and 275 goals against. Cool. Through every game we played today, McDavid slowly kept getting better and better and better. and for who knows why. His numbers just never improved. This man only cracked the 100-point mark once. Nah, EA, you got some explaining to do.